Be selfish. Not in the childish way, not in the use people way, not in the lazy, self-obsessed way people normally mean it. I mean selfish in a way most people are secretly terrified to be. Selfish enough to stop living as a supporting character in other people's emotional lives. That is the real problem for a lot of people. They are not failing from lack of potential. They are failing from over-participation. Too available, too emotionally involved, too easy to reach, too willing to stop their own life every time someone else feels something. And the worst part is, society rewards this at first. The more reachable you are, the more good you seem. The more you explain yourself, the more mature you seem. The more you tolerate, the more kind you seem. The more you delay yourself for other people, the more loyal you seem. So you keep doing it until one day you realize something uncomfortable. You have built a personality around being manageable, easy to call, easy to ask, easy to interrupt, easy to lean on, easy to delay, easy to keep small. That is not always kindness. Sometimes it is fear dressed up as goodness. Fear of disappointing people, fear of being misunderstood, fear of looking selfish, fear of becoming harder to access, fear that if you stop being useful, people may stop liking you. That is the part people do not say out loud. A lot of people are not generous. They are scared. Scared that if they stop overgiving, they will finally see who was only attached to their convenience. That is why being selfish feels so uncomfortable. Because the moment you become less available, you start getting information. You find out who respected your boundaries, who only liked your compliance, who claps for your growth, who quietly resents it, who actually cares about you, and who just got used to having access to you. That is valuable information. Most people never learn it because they never change enough to reveal it. So they spend years around people they think love them, when really those people just love the arrangement. That is the first reason to be selfish. It exposes the truth, and truth is expensive, but confusion costs more. Here is another thing most people miss. Every time you say yes too quickly, you train people on how to use you. That is how patterns get built, not through one big betrayal, through small repeated permissions. You answer every late call. You always adjust your schedule. You always explain yourself. You always make exceptions. You always show up, even when it costs you. You always rescue the situation. Then one day you feel drained and unsupported. But look carefully. You may not just have been used. You may have been teaching people that your time is flexible, your focus is negotiable, and your needs can wait. That is hard to hear, but people need to hear it. A lot of resentment is delayed self-respect. You were saying yes with your mouth while your body was collecting anger. You were being nice in public and feeling heavy in private. That is not peace. That is unpaid emotional labor. And if you keep living like that, you end up with a very strange life. You become reliable in ways that make other people stronger and you weaker. Think about that. You become reliable in ways that make other people stronger and you weaker. That is a terrible deal. You help them calm down. You help them think clearly. You help them stay encouraged. You help them move through life. Meanwhile, your own plans keep getting pushed back, like they are optional. This is why some people feel permanently behind. Not because they are lazy, not because they lack ability, but because they keep donating the sharpest parts of themselves to other people's lives. Their energy goes outward. Their ideas go outward. Their problem solving goes outward. Their patience goes outward. Then when it is time to build their own future, they have only leftovers. That is not noble. That is mismanaged life force. And yes, that sounds extreme, Good. People need stronger language sometimes. Because if I say protect your energy, people nod and do nothing. But if I say you are spending your best mental currency on people who are not investing it back, now it becomes harder to ignore. That is the second reason to be selfish. Your attention is not just time, it is creative capital. It is decision-making power. It is emotional fuel. It is execution strength. And every unnecessary conversation, every draining obligation, every repeated explanation, every emotionally messy situation taxes your ability to build something meaningful. People think burnout only comes from working too hard. That is not true. A lot of burnout comes from friction. Too many open tabs in your real life. Too many people with access to your mind. Too many unresolved dynamics. Too much soft guilt. Too much being mentally on call. That drains ambition. That drains consistency. That drains the part of you that was supposed to sit down and create, build, train, write, think, sell, improve, and move. So yes, be selfish. Be selfish enough to become harder to reach. That one change alone can transform a life. Not because being unreachable is cool, because access has consequences. Every person who can regularly interrupt your state is partly shaping your future. Read that properly. Every person who can regularly interrupt your state is partly shaping your future. Because your life is not only built by big decisions, it is built by repeated states, focused or distracted, calm or reactive, clear or scattered, disciplined or emotionally pulled apart. Most people are trying to change their life without changing who gets to disrupt it. That almost never works. You say you want to build a business, but random people can still hijack your day. You say you want peace, but chaos still has direct access to your phone. You say you want discipline, but your environment is still designed around interruption. Then you wonder why nothing sticks. Here is the truth. You do not rise to your intentions. You sink to your access settings. That is why being selfish matters. It is not just about saying no. It is about redesigning who and what gets through. And let's go even deeper. Some people do not avoid selfishness because they are good people. They avoid it because selfishness would force them to become fully responsible. That is the hidden fear. As long as your life is crowded, you can blame the crowd. As long as people keep interrupting you, you can say you never had time. As long as everyone needs something from you, you can feel important without making progress. That is dangerous because busyness can become an identity and being needed can become a hiding place. Once you pull back, once you get quiet, once you stop over-serving everybody else, you are left alone with a harder question. Now that nobody is distracting me, what am I actually going to do with my life? That question scares people, so they stay available, not always out of kindness, sometimes out of avoidance. That is why being selfish is powerful. It removes the smoke, it takes away the excuse. It leaves you face to face with your actual responsibility. And that is where life starts to change. Not when you become more liked, not when everyone understands you, not when people finally approve. When you become more intentional than accessible. That is the line. More intentional than accessible. Write that in your mind. That is what serious people eventually learn. If your future matters, access cannot stay cheap. Your mornings cannot stay public. Your focus cannot stay public. Your emotions cannot stay public. Your ambition cannot stay public. Some seasons require a kind of selfishness that almost looks rude from the outside. Less explaining, less rescuing, less instant replying, less overcommitting, less emotional volunteering, more silence, more structure, more completion, more standards. Because the truth is, people rarely notice when you are draining yourself for them. They notice when you stop. That is why the pushback comes late, not while you are overgiving, only when you start pulling away. That alone should teach you something. So yes, be selfish. Be selfish enough to disappoint the version of you that was trained to be endlessly available. Be selfish enough to let people adjust to a new standard. Be selfish enough to discover who remains when convenience ends. Be selfish enough to keep the best of your mind for your own assignment. Be selfish enough to realize that constantly being reachable is not proof of love, character, or maturity. Sometimes it is proof that your boundaries are underpriced. And if you keep underpricing access to yourself, do not be surprised when your life keeps getting interrupted at the exact points where it needed momentum most. That is what people need to understand. Your future does not usually collapse in one dramatic moment. It gets eaten in fragments. 5 minutes here, one favor there, one call there, one emotional detour there, one unnecessary explanation there, one more delay there, until years pass and you realize your biggest loss was not money. It was direction. So be selfish. Not to become cold, not to become arrogant, not to act above people. Be selfish so your life finally has a chance to feel your full weight, because everybody has had access to pieces of you. Your future deserves access to all of you.